In this video, I'll try to give an archaeological perspective of what's going on with the Western world these days. And well, this Rotec 32 Bosch lawnmower is the perfect example and really all you need to know, really. So I picked up this lawnmower. It's a 100 euro machine. I picked it up at the recycling bin of the local hardware store. And the reason why I was doing that was because I thought, well, hey, wait a minute. Usually the stuff here is broken, but I bet that electric motor in there is probably still fine because they usually are. So I can salvage that and use it for another project. So that's what I did. I picked up the lawnmower and put it in my car. Of course, I did a quick check to see if it's really broken, and yep, it's not working, so it's really broken. And then I took a quick peek at the electronical mechanical switch to see if there's anything wrong with it, but I couldn't see anything obvious. Then I tried to do something dangerous. I tried to manually override the safety mechanism. So yeah, that's 240 volts contacts only centimeters away from my fingers. That's dangerous. But in any case, it didn't help. The machine was still not working. Time to take a look inside, under the hood, so to speak. Yeah, that sure is one dirty motor compartment. So this is a so-called brushed motor, which means it has a commutator and brushes. So I did a quick check on those brushes to see if they're okay, because very often it's the brushes that fail. But these were fine actually. Then I did a manual override of the switch to see if there was any power reaching the motor. So I got my multimeter, put it to AC voltage and did a measurement of the leads near the motor with the power plugged in. And as you can see here, there is no power reaching the motor. In this point of the video, you can actually hear me laughing because that's the moment when I realized that, yes, this machine has been dumped because of a loose wire. And that's usually something very easy to fix. I must admit that this is also the point in the editing of the video that I realized that it was probably better to disattach the knives of the machine, because there's always a chance that the machine suddenly starts running again, and then I'm awfully close to it. And then the miracle happened. I did a little vacuum cleaning. I fumbled a bit with the contacts and used a little contact spray, also in the switch. And then this happened. And there you have it. I had to check it in the video details while editing, but this whole process took less than 30 minutes. So in less than half an hour, I now have a working lawnmower, which I can use to mow my lawn, which, as you can see, I don't really have. I usually do it with a hand cutter because it's so small, we don't really need a lawnmower. So that's the story in a nutshell. A 100 euro machine was dumped because there was a continuity error in the wires from the switch to the motor. And yes, you don't have to point out that my cheesy slippers that suddenly popped up in this scene are also a kind of continuity error. As said in the introduction, when thinking of material culture, I also see an archaeological narrative here. People will probably be very quick in pointing out the loss of economical value here. Somebody bought a machine, a 100 euro machine, and there was something wrong with it, but it was really a slight error, which was easily repairable, but they dumped it anyway. And the machine may cost only 100 euros, but its footprint, its ecological footprint is, in production I mean, is probably far bigger. And sure, when things like these happen, there is a loss of economical value, but I think the story of this lawnmower points in the direction of something way more profound, way deeper in a crisis of how Western people relate to their environment and to the things we own or work with. Of course, there's a lot of things I assume here because I really don't know anything about the person who dumped this lawnmower. It might be an elderly person or something might have been going on which I don't know. But my quick analysis here is that the person who owned this simply did not invest in a deep enough relationship with the object. And this can be a bit hard for me to explain, but if you really invest in the relationship with an object, you care about it. And this is really not very much different from caring about a person. If you care about an object, then you worry about its inside. You want it to be happy, so to speak. This is about relational ontology. And if you look at this lawnmower from a relational ontology viewpoint, this lawnmower is your kin. So if something is wrong with it, if it's not suddenly not working anymore, you don't discard it, you don't dump it. No, you want to make it better. Coming from a relational ontology, the things you work with in your daily life are very close to you. In a way, you are very intimately connected to them. And just like with other human beings that you care about, you can have the living experience that you're really very close to objects, that you really sort of know them from the inside out. And if the person who owned this lawnmower would have had that kind of relationship with the machine, they would have probably looked inside or have somebody else look inside, and they would have discovered that the problem really was very simple. Now, these relational ontologies, they are real. They really exist in the world. It's not just my imagination, but it must also be said that yes, they are very scarce in the Western world. And I think that's a big part of the problem. It's a big part of the reason why we can feel so disconnected to our natural environment. And that's probably one part of why, for us Western people, it's so easy to just attract loads of objects, of stuff in our lives, and then discarding them again without being emotionally attached to them or involved in them. And thus why humanity moved into this immense problem of environmental destruction and global heating. Of course, this is not new theory at all. There's thousands and thousands of researchers of all kind of disciplines saying similar things all over the globe. But examples like this lawnmower, they give me personally a great sense of urgency because it means that as an archaeologist, I just do not only need to look at the past or the distant past even. I can take the perspective of relational ontology and work with the present and do something with or work with the biggest challenges humanity is facing at this time. The bulk of current archaeology is coming from the perspective of objectification, of dissection, of classification. And as such, I think it's part of the root of the problem here. I believe that archaeology needs to shift paradigm if it wants to become part of the solution. I will admit that making videos about this topic always make me feel quite nervous actually, because the reality is that not many people I know, especially not in the Netherlands, are working with this topic at all. So I guess that this video is sort of a shout out into the world that hey, I'm here, I'm working with these ideas, and if you like it or like to connect about it, then please do, because I like to know that you exist, and let's see what we can do together. Well, that's all I've got to say for now. So thank you for watching this video up to this point, and thanks for connecting.